How you doing?
Oh man!
You good?
I'm so fucking happy.
I'm really
Sorry,
excited.
I just smashed your fucking earphones up.
How you doing? You good?
How is he?
He's amazing. He's so good. He loves Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He's in the house. Welcome back to the True Geordie podcast.
It's a while since we've done this.
With the daddy himself.
Hello.
Well, sorry, you got an announcement to make.
Yeah.
For those who aren't aware of it. But first,
Right.
hold that thought, because we have these messages.
From our sponsors.
Raid Shadow Legends.
I genuinely knew. Yeah, go. Do you love raiding? Do you love shadowing? Do you love legends? Of course you do. You're right here.
Are you a legendary Shadow Raider?
Good. That's brilliant. He loves dark fantasy. This is an RPG about that. He loves to play it.
That's the game.
Where's it available?
I'll tell you where it's not available.
Right, okay.
You can't just imagine it.
No,
yeah?
because your imagination isn't that good.
It does involve a little bit of downloading and the internet.
Yeah.
And of course, you can do it on your phone.
Good. And on PC as well. So
That's a shocker. That is
yeah.
amazing. They've just got this thing everywhere.
Exactly. I mean, that's the good thing. It's got this PC level of graphics on a phone.
If there's anything I can play with in my hand, always a good thing.
The gameplay is getting better and better each time as well. Let me show you some of my champions. Look at this one. The female version of Galek.
Do you know what it is, right?
She's Shaman.
That's my idea of heaven. Have you ever seen Vikings? She looks like the girl out of Vikings. She's hot.
Yeah. Do you know what I love about this one as well? This one here. Sniper.
A little bit of belly on show there.
Yeah, I know, but not only that.
I mean, I do worry about that because she's left herself exposed.
I always worry about that, but the good thing is shielding from COVID. So
she's observing.
Yeah.
I like that. They're culturally aware.
and as is this guy. If anyone's got PPE, it's this guy.
The horns
Do
on
you know
that.
what I mean?
Look at the horns on
Bloody
that.
hell, yeah.
Oh, he's making a statement as well.
Yeah, now if that guy was Prime Minister, I'd go with him. And I mean, sure, Brian, you're happy with your champions, and they're amazing. But what about my shards?
Show me your shards, Loz.
I want to show you my shards. The shards you earn from all over the game, you sort of earn them as you go around on your missions, and they earn you like little rewards as you go along. This is a mystery shard.
Oh, he's a right beast, him, isn't he?
He's beautiful.
Look at that.
Let's open this one now.
Oh, look at that powerful woman. I bet you she's a right sassy boss.
So you see, you get a pretty good reward for that.
From now on, Loz, I think we should all just get our shards out.
If there's one thing I want you all to do, it's to get your shards out.
Show me your shards.
Show me your shards. Do you want to know some of the in-game tournaments ongoing?
I've already been in all of
Yeah,
them.
well,
so
let me tell the
bit of
audience.
an expert,
though.
actually.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I
of
don't
course
really need
are,
you
but
to-
maybe these guys at home aren't as.
Well, tell them.
The Spider's Den, Ice Golem's Peak, the Almighty Fire Knight. That sounds very like you. And the Notorious Dragon. That one's me. What Chinese New Year are you?
Tiger.
Tiger, Dragon. So
Cool.
we are Tiger and Dragon. So he likes the Green Woman, and I like the Green Man.
Maybe they could. Have you ever seen that episode of
Yeah.
Black Mirror? We could be...
I'm not sure if that's how I would do it. Yeah,
Not
if
me
that- I
neither.
mean, if I was going to pick
It's a
anyone,
terrible idea, I forgot I mentioned
but if
that.
I was going to pick anyone to do that with, it would be you.
Well, when I did watch Black Mirror, I did think we
You
could
think
do that on
we
Raid
could do-
Shadow Legends.
Make sure you're quick with our link in the description because every new player will get an exclusive welcome pack.
Oh, you want to get in there ASAP.
Quick. What for, Brian? 100,000 silver. That's right.
And you get 2 clan boss keys and 10 mystery shards.
Nailed it. And a free awesome champion, Adjudicator.
She's a saucy little minx, isn't she?
Just to be clear, you'll find your extra rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days. You can find me under the nickname Lozcast. So, see us on Raid Shadow Legends. We hope to see you there as well.
All right, welcome back from that.
We look different.
Yeah.
Because a lot has happened since.
You made that little advert with me.
It was a great ad, to be fair. I was pretty chipper, I think, when I made that. I was like, hey, let's just chill. At least another 2 or 3 weeks until, the big day.
And then with so going back in time.
Sure. Do people know what we're talking about? I suppose the thumbnail and the title will explain this.
Lawrence is now a dad.
Yeah. Wow.
He's a man now.
Yeah. It does. We can get into that later. It does kind of feel
fully.
that way. Yeah.
So going all the way back to the night of conception, how good was it? Ejaculating. Did it feel great?
Ejaculation
it wouldn't be right if I didn't just ruin
this. If you didn't think about I don't think you have ruined it. I mean...
Because if you didn't know, right, what happens is,
when a man loves a woman...
Pops it in the...
In a very specific place, a very loving area of the body...
Do you know what's really funny?
I'm going to have this chat with him.
I got Lawrence. I had a little bit of. Are we allowed to say what happened that night? In terms
No, don't say that. Okay. That makes it sound terrible. Yeah.
No, but like.
Everyone was having a good time, and then everyone had a good time. And that's great.
And Lawrence is all about a good time.
And
so I knew before all of you lot, and I've been keeping this secret the whole time. So if you're wondering, yes, I can keep a secret.
And Gio knew as well.
Yeah.
And Rovan knew.
Well, yeah. All right. It's about me.
No, but I'm saying you.
It's about me, Lawrence. This podcast is about me.
Of the people that knew, you probably knew first.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah. You knew first, even beyond the doctor, I think. You were like, is there...
Yeah.
I'll just say it's a bit of a surreal experience. It's the first time I've left the house for a few days and, left.
So I've got an immediate question.
Yeah.
Do you know when you leave the house now?
Yeah.
Do you feel different? Do you feel like, oh God, what if something happens? Are you a bit panicked? Like, are you a bit worried?
No, I don't worry because I know he's capable of looking after himself.
He's a hands-off
He's
dad.
a hands-off. Yeah, I'm very much, self-soothing.
Honestly.
Apparently that's not a thing.
I really hope the OGs of the podcast fans are watching this. Yeah, because this to me, I'm doing this for them, the ones who've witnessed us go from, kids in a bomb shelter to now businessmen, grown men.
Is.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
And you know what? I'll say this: I don't care about other people's kids. And I hate...
That's the most Lawrence thing I've ever...
And I hate hearing about other people's kids. Yeah. So I've been very conscious of just boring other people with news of children.
No, but this is the thing. You've sent me, fucking God knows, 20 pictures, and I've been
30, 40,
went, I'm sorry if I'm boring you. Keep them coming. I'm loving it.
I've got loads and loads of great photos. And also, obviously, I'm not showing his face publicly either. But I can share his feet and, the back of his head and stuff.
Yeah. I think most comments on the pictures and tweets have been fairly respectful. I've seen the odd dickhead, but
I don't care about those people.
Yeah.
When you become a new father, you don't really mind about that, do you?
I think there's a line, and it's important to each to their own of what their line is, and to stick with that. You know what I mean? But
do you know what made me think when I was thinking, how can you make the podcast interesting? Obviously, I can tell you the story of the birth if you want to hear that.
I mean, we've deliberately not talked about this yet,
right? And then, but also, my whole life I wanted to be a dad. Right, my whole life, and I always thought, you'll be a dad one day, and that's good. And then even no matter how prepared you feel, no matter how old you are, no matter what point it comes, you'll always feel an element of being unprepared or not being ready for the experience. A bit like an exam or any of these sorts of things. And I thought, there's a lot of people that watch this and they'll be bored about just hearing about just kids. When it finally happens, then you're just like, wow, this is the most natural, easy thing in the world, and you just go, not easy, but it has felt kind of easy, but. You just go, oh yeah, of course.
No, but that's for you. This is the thing. From the day I met you, you've changed me for the better, and
vice versa.
you're a natural. How do I put this? I want to say helping hand. You are good at guiding.
Cheerleader.
Yeah. While I am who I am, and I'm not.
That will never change.
Yeah. You've definitely helped me a lot along the way. So that when you used to talk about wanting to be a dad, yada yada yada, and then when you said you were going to be a dad, there was never a second where I thought, fuck, Lawrence isn't ready for this.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's been many a friend of mine who I thought, what the fuck?
Yeah.
With you, I never had a second to worry about it because it was like, he's going to be fine. So you were kind of born for this, and there's no worry. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure you'll have your moments, and that's just normal.
Do I look tired? Or
I mean, you've always looked tired.
This is ideal. I said this to someone the other day. Lockdown hasn't changed you, and it's changed my life, but it hasn't changed my look. I've always looked tired. I've always had shaggy hair. This is ideal.
Can I just say, I'm totally a mess right now because I'm just so excited for you.
Yeah, me too.
And also, True Geordie merch is available soon if you're wondering.
Absolutely,
some of the people are like, yeah, we want that. The website's coming. Don't worry. Give us a couple of weeks. It'll be up.
It looks amazing, actually.
Yeah,
that is a great T-shirt. The hoodie is really nice.
The hoodie's really
the hoodie is nicely appointed. Feels really nice on. Some people have cheap merch. Some people. I've seen some merch recently. Cal Freezy has good merch. I'll give him that. But other people, a bit cheap.
No, that's the thing. I don't want to make this about the merch, but I just remember that we were supposed to promote this a little bit. So before we get into the good stuff, good merch coming soon. And I have waited 4 or 5 years to do this, so it's we're not going to take the piss with you guys. We're going to give you something nice
and a decent price.
Do you want to take it to the morning of? Maybe we start from there.
Can I take it the night before? Because the story goes back before that.
Go on then.
We just watched Liverpool draw against Everton. Well, I had. No one else on the show was really watching. We were all just sort of chatting away.
Yeah.
And
horrible game.
Yeah, but we were all very relaxed. Everyone was quite chill, and obviously after the show, everyone just sort of stands around and chats. And everyone's going, oh, how you feeling? Things are going well. People are giving little bits of advice and sort of, And Rory goes, and this is the point where I knew that the baby would not come on time, because Rory goes, mate, they are always on time or late for the first one. And I instantly thought, baby's early then. And
that is Rory is a curse, isn't it?
Rory says something and you instantly go, it won't happen that way.
Classically, one of the main things that Rory once said on a game when we watched on the kickoff is he goes, David Luiz never misses a penalty. He's just about to step up. He'll bury this. This miles wide. Yeah. So I actually said to you that night, this is your last Father's Day you'll ever have without actually having your baby. And it turned out to be the last day ever. Was. And I get a text message first thing in the morning, which I really appreciate, by the way, going, she's gone into labour. And so this is the thing. I know you so well, right? So I message you back and I'm very calm right now in my reply. So I'm going, just everything's going to be fine. Just remember everything they've told you. Listen to the nurses, just get out of the hospital and they're going to walk you through it. You're not going to have to worry about anything. And you just replied,
yes. I was like, yeah.
No, but I'm sure you weren't worried. But at the time, I thought he's fucking shit.
I remember after that, you instantly went, if you do need a chat on the phone, let me know. And at that point, well, I'll get to that point. We can go back to that. Yeah. And then I got back. I was quite tired. And then we got into bed together, and I was like, you all right? You comfortable? She wasn't really very comfortable.
So this is the night before still, yeah.
Because he was beginning to feel like quite big as a baby. And we probably got to about 5 months in the pregnancy, and we were like, yeah, he looks about ready to come now. Because Flu's quite petite and quite small. She's not,
People don't realise that you are 6'1" at least, something like 6'2". So he's going to be a taller guy, the chances are.
Me, right? And he was in this, where every time we go to the midwife, she would be like, oh, he's quite tall, he's quite long, but he's not very fat.
Okay, can I just stop you? Because I'm going to do this a lot, because I'm so excited.
Right.
So, the first time you ever seen him on screen.
Yeah.
Just describe that moment.
It's really surreal because you look at your own, as a father, you're looking at your own face, or you're looking at something that, you look at it and it's like looking in a mirror, and you can recognize features and you're like, it kind of looks like me. That is me. And
did it make you feel a bit different about the whole thing when you recognized yourself there?
In like an arrogant way, but I already had become attached to him, and I was already like, you are that. But you begin to think,
it's kind of confirmation at that point for you, isn't it?
And it changes your approach because you begin to go, oh, okay, and you begin to make your mind subconsciously starts making links, and you're not consciously going through it, but you start changing the way you act, changing the way you think, and that sort of stuff, and suddenly you're just like, oh yeah, right, yeah, and your heart skips. And it's just a completely different feeling from there on.
You've been calmer since that happened.
A lot, obviously, lockdown.
No, I'm talking about
helped.
way back then.
Lockdown helped, and I get what you're saying. And then I've just read a lot since then. Like, the night before he was born, I read, for some reason, I felt this real urge to read pages and pages of Kobe Bryant's book, and was just like, it's this really empowering, like, affirmative, you've got this, like, all these things. And I was like, I don't know why, but I really need to read this book now.
He's a proper man, isn't he? And he's a man with many kids.
Yeah, and I read it, and I was like, okay, close the book, go to sleep. Don't know why I need this right now, but I totally need to read this. And I read it, and there's so many little bits in there from someone who read and did a lot. At about 3:30 in the morning, Flu gets out of bed, but I was used to it at this point because obviously when you're pregnant, you get up a lot. But I'd always wake up and be like, do you need anything? Do you want me to go and get a drink or something? And she'd always say no. And then at about 5 o'clock in the morning, she just goes, yeah, I think it's happening. And I was like, now, when I was a kid, we used to fly on holiday, and my mum used to tell me that I would wake up, like they'd wake me up in the middle of the night ready to go to the airport, and I'd always wake up and go, yep, good, let's go, and like be so ready. And that's exactly, this was recently, it's taken me a bit of time to wake up. Lockdown. Woke up, so I was like, yeah, cool, let's go. Flu's having contractions, but she's like, it might not be the real thing. They're about 10 minutes apart, they're about 9 minutes apart. That's really, from what the hospital tell you, that's hours away from it. So we're both quite chill, but the sun's already risen, and our apartment, there's this panorama.
If you follow Lawrence on Instagram, you've seen a lot of the views.
You must be sick of this shit. So there's this panorama of London, and I looked outside, and Flu went into the living room, and just for a second, my knees went weak, and I was just like, shit. And I just sat down and just went, this is not time to do that. Like, this is not the time for you to go, let's think about me for a second. I was like, this isn't about you. So I was like, right, get your shit together, do what you do when you're gonna do the things that you're
about to be that dad going, can I have some gas in it?
Right, exactly. And there's another moment in the birth where that happens. And I was like, okay, get up. So we go in, we start timing the contractions, and they started slowing down, and Flu was like, see, I told you it's not really happening, but sorry to wake you up. And then suddenly they become very, very fast. And all these instructions that we've been reading through, and we're like, okay, when it says 5 minutes, we call them. But it was like 9-10 minutes. And then suddenly it just went 4 minutes. And I'm sitting there timing them going, these are 4 minutes apart. Do I tell you that these are 4 minutes apart or not? And then I just went, I think we should call the hospital and just check. And we call them, and the woman's like, yeah, it sounds like maybe you should head in. And I was like, oh, okay. So we go, get in the car, begin to head down, and Flu at this point, and I've asked her if I can say this, is like beginning to get quite pained by the contraction. Because anyone who's witnessed a birth knows early on, they're testing, and then after a while, they just suddenly become serious.
From uncomfortable to pain.
Yeah. And they're beginning to get quite painful at this point in the back of this car.
She's making a lot of noise at this point in the car.
She's not as much as I thought. And I was a bit like...
Not as much as I used to, huh?
Yeah. Not as much. But a bit of me was like...
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But a bit of me was like, okay, this is impressive. You're dealing with this really well. I get to the hospital, and they stop her, and then they stop me, and they go, you need to wait down here. She's going to go upstairs. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm carrying the bags and stuff. So I stand there waiting for the bags, and they send her up, and they go, they'll assess her, and then maybe in an hour, they'll come down. I'm like, am I going to be standing here for a fucking hour? So I'm standing there.
Selfish.
But I was also like, why can't I just come up now? Like, we know it's happening. So 5 minutes pass, and then this little woman runs up to me and is like, you need to go upstairs right now. And I was like, oh, okay. So I get all the bags, rock upstairs, and there's, in hospitals you go corridor. So I'm going around all these corridors, and I'm like looking for the birth thing, and everyone's going, yeah, it's that way. And I get to the place, and I go, hey, I'm here for blah, blah, blah. And they go, oh yeah, follow me. I'm pulling the bags and stuff, because we got his clothes, her clothes, my stuff that I, camera bag. And I walk into the room, and Flu's looking the other way, and the woman just goes, yeah, so we're 5 centimeters dilated. We'll be ready to give birth in the next hour. And I was like, sorry, what? But I was thinking, we'll be here for 9-10 hours.
Yeah,
like, we can chill for a little while.
Some people are there for days. Do you know what I mean?
Tell me about it.
Perspective.
And we wanted a pool for the birth. Yeah. By the way, I know that young men don't give a fuck about birthing stories. Yeah. Stick around, because it might be handy for you one day. You're definitely going to get someone pregnant, even if you're gay.
Yeah, if they're...
See what I mean?
Yeah, if they're dumb enough to...
Yeah.
Yeah, you finally put that to bed,
Yeah, exactly.
Gaylord.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, Dale Winton.
So. Some of us get lucky. Do you know what I mean?
Philip Schofield. I'm not like him.
At that point, was there a bit of panic? Was there a little bit?
No, it was the opposite. It was almost like the midwife was so in control and so like,
positive.
Don't worry about it.
Because she's like, yeah.
But she literally just went, the baby will be here in an hour. And we were like, cool. And she went, and then I'll clock off and go home. And we were like, wicked.
You get an early flyer.
Yeah. I think she was sort of happy. She was a bit like, yeah, I can pop this one out before I head off, and that'll do the quota for the month. And so I put the bags down, and Flu's on the bed, facing forward, and just facing me. And she was like, don't go down the other end. And I was like, play.
I'm not asking for any other reason other than trying to picture what's going on in your head.
Sure you are.
No, the last thing I find attractive is a woman giving birth.
Sure, but some men out there, you perverts.
Some of them will love it. So are you talking
She's
about...
facing forward,
right.
Yeah. So she's not on her back. Just
she's on her knees looking at you.
Yeah, basically,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Flu. And
well,
so,
I mean, it's natural, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so natural. Yeah. And in that moment, I'll admit, like, as a man, I was in awe of her. I was looking at her, and I was like,
Jesus.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And a few days before, I'd listened to a podcast with Emma Thompson. Do you know the wife from Love Actually?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
she's a great actress, isn't she?
Great actress. Yeah. I don't know why I picked Love Actually, but that's the only film that I imagine.
She was, I think she was in the... I don't know why we're going down this road, but...
Let's talk about Emma Thompson for a minute. What films was she in?
they did the true story about who's the woman who used to Miss Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins.
Yeah, so the woman who wrote Mary Poppins, she played that in the new Disney remake. She's really good.
Yeah, she's a great actress.
She was also in The Name of the Father. Sorry, I'm just spouting off.
We can go down IMDb later. Expect a full Emma Thompson podcast.
I'd like to have her on.
She would be amazing. She is a great storyteller, as I saw from Desert Island Discs. It was an old one. And I'd listened to it weirdly out of the blue because it was something that I really thought was
what
a good...
What did she say?
So she said in Desert Island Discs, she talked about giving birth, and she described it in the most beautiful way. And I remember when I first went to university, I listened... So this is like a 10-year-old podcast almost. I first went to university and I was like, oh, that changes it. Like, she was like, it's empowering. You lean your head back and you roar and suddenly you've got a baby. And I was like, yeah, that's what Flu looks like. She looks like this really powerful... I just got down on my knees to be like face to face with her and was just like... I just looked her in the eye and was like, you got this, you're strong, you'll be all right. And she was on gas and air and she was like, yeah, cool. And I was just like, yeah, okay. The gas and air is incredible, right? I didn't have it, but the effect it has is pretty insane.
What do you mean? What was it doing though, do you think?
She was just breathing it very heavily and I think it was just really like chilling her out. And it was definitely making her eyes cross. That's all I remember. And so I was just like, this is good. Okay, you're clearly a bit in the room. And then,
but not too much so that you're in agony.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what you want.
I mean, she didn't have anything else but that. Yeah. Didn't have an epidural. It was really natural birth. But she kept saying, when are we going to go to the pool? And the midwives kept looking at me and being like, pool's going to need to fill up. And,
there's no way they're going to have enough time.
And she was like, and even the midwife was a bit like, I don't know, can we fill it up in time? And I was like, can we at least fucking try, please?
Can we knock this baby out quickly?
Yeah.
She said.
And then in walks a midwife with a Scouse accent. And I was like, brilliant.
God, it's home.
And she sounded just like some of my family. Yeah. And she's cooking and that. So she was lovely and she was making jokes and she was super
I bet you
back.
loved that. Like a Scouse midwife is delivering your little...
And Flu turned around and she was like, oh, you're the one from my last appointment. And they'd had this appointment and they'd had a good appointment. So she was like, oh, great, you're here. And then another midwife walks in. And because no one else has given birth on the ward, we've got like 4 or 5 midwives just popping in and out going, you guys good? Do you want a tea? Do you want anything? Everyone was so chill. And
was there any worries about the COVID thing? Were people wearing like...
they were wearing masks, but they turned to me and they were like, you can take your mask off if you want. And I was like, okay, cool. So we're not wearing masks, but everyone else is. And everything was cleaned, like super... It smelled clean. It was all very clean. And they were doing a really good job. And you look on the bed down the other end, not at the... But you look at the instruments and I was like, shit, are we going to need any of those?
Yeah.
There's like these scissors and this plunger thing I guess you just stick in and just... and...
Fuck's sake, son. You really painted a picture there.
And the things that you cut the umbilical cord with.
I've watched one bone every minute and it was horrendous. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'll be honest, this was nothing like... If you imagine that, that's what I was imagining. Nothing like that.
Just a lot of screaming, that show.
Yeah.
A lot of screaming.
This was a lot less screaming and a lot more just sort of going, and a lot more just like, it felt so natural to her. And she was just going, she was breathing. She was, she'd studied hypnobirth, so she was sort of hypnotizing herself and calming herself. And we were sort of doing things together and we were looking each other in the eye pretty much the whole time.
Wow.
And
what was that like? Was that a little bit like...
When our eyes weren't crossed, we were looking at each other in the eye.
No, but like...
It was very linking. We were very like...
That's a heavily bonding moment without even just to stare into someone's eyes for a long period of time. It's hard not to feel something. And then if you combine that with the fact that she's given birth to your baby, or both of your baby, obviously,
yeah, but
you know what I'm saying. Like for a man, that's some powerful shit. Yeah.
So we were very close, and and this is what we were told by the midwife: is every birth you get to a point where you don't think you can do it anymore. And I've told you about my PE teacher on the podcast before, who said to me, like, the point where you don't think you can do it anymore, that's when you're just about to do it. And Flu turned to me and she went, I can't do this, I'm too tired. And I was like, your body is just relaxing, so you can just slip this baby out. You will be absolutely fine.
Slip this little puppy out,
yeah.
No problem.
And at that point, they put the heart monitor on the side. So they sort of, every now and again after a contraction, they put the heart monitor on the side.
On the side of
sort of on her belly, but a bit lower. And they, for ages, they've been like, yeah, he's cool, don't worry. And then they were like, he's getting a little bit distressed now. because clearly he just wanted to come out. He'd been pushing. And then Flu just like looks up and is just like, right. And just starts like going for it.
Oh, yes.
And what I noticed was, and I wasn't conscious of this, but every time she was pushing, I was sensing my whole body. And I looked at my hand when she was like doing the final pushes, and my knuckles were like white because we were holding hands so tight. And earlier on in the birth, I was like, don't know if we should hold hands anymore, because she had gone, and started biting this finger, and I'd never experienced pain like that, Brian. But I also went, ow, and sort of took it out. And I, in that moment, went, oh, that was painful. I was like, in my mind, I was like, that was painful. But I didn't feel like turning to the other 3 women in the room and going, I am in some real pain here, guys.
You got any?
Yeah. Has anyone got any? I need some gas and air for this finger.
Got some ice for this.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that's not going to fall on ears that are thinking, God, poor you. So I was just like, yeah, cool. Don't worry about the finger. It's fine. We'll look at that later.
Oh my God. And
so she pushed, and they were like, and by the way, the midwives were amazing. These people are incredibly well trained. And one of them just went, wow. And I was like, he's definitely close. And then she said, wow. And then you just hear some crying. And we just looked at each other, and we looked at each other dead in the eye, and we're just like, ugh. And then they just went, cool, we'll just slip the rest of him out. And then they just went, shh, and he just shot out.
Did they catch him though? Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Really well, actually. And then they handed him to her. And I remember just looking at him and being like, is he going to look like that all the time? Because babies, when they've just been born, are a bit funny.
They're not as cute as they look a day later. I get it.
Or even 20 minutes later. Because these guys... I mean, imagine you have to squeeze through a hole. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's going to get gift up. But like, imagine you have to squeeze your whole body through something, and then you have to look good on the other side. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
So he I was like, well, okay. He looked a little bit like me, but it's all like it's like someone photocopied his face. Do you know what I mean?
I get it.
And then put that as a mask.
He needed a second just to get himself together.
Yeah. And then we just sat there for ages. And then they put us in a room.
Question. Yeah. What were your first words to him?
I said, I love you.
Oh.
Straight away. And then kissed him on the head.
Yeah.
And all this stuff all over my mouth. They come out in like this waxy gunk sort of thing. And it's nothing like The Matrix.
Yeah.
Nothing like The Matrix.
How was it just sort of sitting there for an hour or whatever it was, just sort of absorbing it all? I
instantly... I got the camera out because I didn't get the camera out for the birth.
Yeah.
And then...
I'm glad.
Took photos instantly of Flu being handed the child.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't stop like taking pictures of him and then looking at him and taking pictures of him and looking at him and taking pictures of him and looking at him and then holding his hand. And then they put him to weigh him, and I was like level with his eyes, and it was the first time he properly opened his eyes, and he just looked at me like his eyes went from a little bit open to like really open. And I've got a photo of it, I'll show you. And he was looking so hard. And I was just like, wow.
Welcome to the world, son.
And you just felt, I don't know, you just felt very relaxed. I felt instant relaxed.
For those wondering, he was £7 of 1.7.
Yeah, so £7 2 ounces or something.
Yeah, that's not,
It's not, but you know what they told me? They told me he was really long.
Yeah, definitely.
They were like, he's tall.
He's a gangly fucker like he's there.
Basically, yeah. And he kicks and just like, he always wants to hold your hand. Like he loves holding your hand and looking at you. He's useless apart from that. What else do they do until this day? I was looking at him and he walked on me a little bit the other day. Like what they do in the first 5 days, apparently they have this ability to like almost walk on you and then they lose it. And I put him on my knees and he just kind of walked up my chest. And I was just like, is he meant to be able to do this yet? And he was looking around and everything. And then he just went back to sleep.
That's enough for one day.
Yeah, that was literally it. He was like, well, I've done that. Let's go.
Are you noticing his nature a little bit straight away? How he is?
Originally, we had a name for him, which is not his name now. And his name was going to be Ziar, which means fire in, I think, Albanian. I looked at him and I was like, that's not your name. You don't look like a Ziar.
I've seen him, and he definitely not. He looks like a Lawrence.
Yeah, and this is what's funny. And when you pull him out, you literally go, well, the only option here is Lawrence Jr. That's the only option. And
you haven't gone with that, though?
No. God, no. Lawrence is a terrible name. If you want a kid to get bullied, then sure. We've gone with Rovan.
Rovan, our cameraman, is delighted with that. No, what is his nature like?
He's calm. He's so calm, but I don't know.
He's calm. He's, by the way, that's not in the slang term. He's just actually calm.
It's calm blood. You know what I'm saying? He is calm, and he's always quite relaxed. Loves looking at people. His crying isn't really that abrasive yet. Maybe that develops as he develops his lungs. I don't know. But we had a midwife over, and she was just like, "Wow, he's really calm, isn't he?" So everyone just says how calm he is and how nice he looks, and he's a nice kid. He looks great in red. We dressed him in, the Liverpool kit that you bought him.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. The Liverpool kit that Uncle Brian got him.
I was the first person to get him some clothes.
It's true. Yeah, that is true. And
I got every time I see him, I get all emotional and stuff.
The photo of me with him, you were the first person to get that picture, because I was like, it's a good picture. And he is, for a first Liverpool game, 4-0 against Crystal Palace is good. He was so drunk though, he couldn't.
Can we mention a bit about your dad? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Your dad's been diagnosed with cancer.
He's not been very
earlier
well,
this year, and he was one of the first people I thought of when we found out he was coming. It was like, you've been through all like lockdown and COVID, because he's had to isolate so much more than a normal person would, and then you've got a grandson on the way. Even just talking about it, because I've met your dad. Your dad's a lovely guy. He's very like you. He's very funny, very nice natured, and you sent me the picture of him talking to him to look at him. Sorry, and that got me emotional. And then you rang me right after.
Right? You were on the train coming back from London, and I just had this phone call with Dad where all he was smiley the whole time, and he picked up like, "Oh my God." And it was so emotional.
Do you think it would give your dad such a like?
It was just such a. I think for any person to think that they've seen like not only their son, but then their son have a son is big, and he is made for this. Like it's his. He's gonna be a great granddad.
Absolutely.
And it was just such a great moment, because I think he's when you're not well, be it whatever, you start to begin to think about your own life. And we would, I don't know, it gets me kind of I've become confused when I talk about it, because it just feels so so weird right now. But I'm so proud of, weirdly, I just looked at all the people around me and I was like, I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of you, and you're going to be great, and you're going to be great. And the worries, weirdly, after the birth just all went, and I was like, you crying on the FaceTime. He cried within 5 seconds of picking up the FaceTime, and I Flu and I was sitting there, and I was just like, and even Flu sort of got choked up when you got choked up.
Yeah.
And we both sat there, and I was like,
I'm probably the worst crier of everyone
Brian
so far. Crying
in first class, and then Flu got a bit choked up, and then
God, mate, it was mate. I've seen how happy you were.
Yeah.
And that was the thing is, the last 12 months for me and you have been really hard in many different ways. Everything that happened last summer, but also just like what a struggle it's been with, money and lockdown and all that sort of shit, and just mental health in general. And knowing what you've been through with your dad, you and I have been very intertwined in that time, and I think in many ways, like you've carried me for some of that time. And there are times when we've carried each other, And for me, like this has been one of the most unhappy years of my life.
Yeah.
So to just see that moment with you, and you flip the camera around and you show me him, and then you sort of showed me both you guys together, I just was like, fuck me. Like, he is so happy. And I knew what you were feeling. I wasn't there. I wasn't right in the room, but I could feel what you were feeling for your son. I could feel it. And I was just like, if there's anyone who deserves that happiness on planet Earth, it's you. And I was just so happy for you.
That's your exact face the second that you saw him.
Yeah, but it wasn't 5 seconds later. It was a lot worse than that.
I respectfully stopped. I
was that's one of the first, I think it's happened before, but that's one of the first times, it's definitely happened before, but in my life, like a handful of times where I've cried tears of joy. like, and cried. There was, I think there's people around me going, fuck me, that big guy up there is really emotional right
Is he
now. I hope he's not freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, he's having a panic attack.
Mate, I was crying
I
my
really
eyes out.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
it was
I
lovely.
just couldn't help it, because it was like, I love your son.
Yeah. And I saw
you know what
that.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I saw that in that moment.
Yeah, I did. I just felt it for him. I was like, you're my little mate now. You know what I mean? And I just, it really went over us.
And it's funny because a lot of people, I think, will have made the joke of like, don't let him be around Brian too much, because he'll corrupt him. Yeah. But actually, I said that to Flu. I was like, when you really get to know someone really well, then you're a very authentic person on YouTube. Mm-hmm. But there's much more to you than just drinking and sex and football
and beating people up.
And and a lot of people, those are very lovable or sort of like caricature nice qualities to someone, or qualities you can relate to very easily. But I think what people don't know is how nice it is just to spend time with you. Well, some people do. Gio loves spending time with you, I'm sure. Maybe not in the edit suite, but outside of that. And I don't know, in that moment I was just so emotional. I would cry right now, but I've cried a lot over the last few days.
Mate, I just I'm
also very tired.
So yeah, I was so privileged to have that second, because in my head I was like, I'm just gonna hang back, because me and you spend so much time together. After your missus, I'm pretty much the guy you spend most of your time with. I was like, I'll have my time. Like, this is about his mum and his dad seeing the grandchild and her family and stuff.
My mum was so, she was so choked up as well.
Oh, really?
I think it means so much. Some people, like, their identity is that parenthood thing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't actually know whether she'd ever considered being a grandparent. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think it just hit her in the same way as it hit you, mm-hmm. the second that she picked up the phone and you just see him. And
it's real.
Also you realise that you don't just realise your responsibility to him, but you realise your responsibility towards your whole family at that point, and all the people who have been really good to you. And I don't know, I just didn't. You can't study for this, but you can prepare yourself for it. So I'd say if there's guys out there who are thinking, they're growing up and the skill is they want to develop a skill, take some time to develop yourself as well, because I know it's just weird.
Yeah, I can see your mind, you're going through a lot and you're absorbing so much information right now. But yeah, that one thing I got from that little moment that we had on the FaceTime there was just like, I don't think I've ever been happier for another person than I was in that moment, because obviously me and you spent so many hours together and we've been through hell and back. And I was like, you deserve this. You'd fucking deserve this.
We've had a lot over the last 12 months.
Especially last 12 months. But we've been bros for years now. And I remember I just kept saying to you, like, it's time to be Mufasa now.
Yeah, I've actually got that photo as well. I took that photo.
Yeah, I that's a little conversation me and Lawrence had where I was just talking about like what it means to be a dad and stuff. And I don't know why, but I always bring it back to Mufasa. I was like, when we were kids, that was like, I mean, I didn't really have a father figure there growing up a lot. Like, my dad was in and out of my life, and I know you listen to this, and we've made peace, and it's all good. But at the same time, that father figure in Mufasa, like the way he just sort of takes that Simba under his wing and is that protector, that guiding force in his life, even after he dies and all of that sort of stuff. Even though it's Disney, there's a lot of truth in that, and I knew when you became a dad, you'd have that feeling of like...
Yeah, why do you think I grew my hair?
The mane is yet to stay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess you start to look at your own dad when you become a dad, or you start to look at other people that you want to emulate, and you start to realize like how you can make a person be a person. And also, something that Flu and I have really been talking about a lot was like, oh yeah, he'll be like this, or he'll be like this. And the thing that we both came to the conclusion was like, nah, he's going to decide what he's going to be like. We can only really stand and we can help him and observe him, but we can't. I think a lot of people think of it as like a Barbie doll. You choose which Barbie you get and then you play with them in that way. And
I think that there's two sides of the spectrum, Lars.
Right.
So I think there's one side where people think that they can build a kid, and just make them exactly what they want. There's the other far side, which is we don't really care. And sadly, there are people who have kids for the experience of having the kid and get addicted to the pumping the babies out, but actually aren't hands-on enough at all, and just sort of go, right, you go on, be who you... And then there's the middle, which is the ideal scenario, which is what you're aiming for, clearly, which is to be there when you need me, guide when you need to be guided, but also not trying to force you to be who I want you to be, which is why you haven't called him Lawrence after you, because you want to be his own person.
Yeah, I've called him Premiere Pro. I've called him Final Cut Pro, is what he is. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, he's already his own person, and you don't really realize that when you're just looking at a round bump and going, you know, there's something in there, but you don't know what it is yet or who it is yet. And then when you actually see their face and you give them an identity, then you're like...
It's funny because although you become a dad, you're also growing at a rapid rate now yourself, because you're experiencing things that you've never been forced to experience before. So now all of a sudden he's growing, but you're growing as well, and you're having to learn as well and adapt as well.
It's so funny because I'm not ashamed to admit, like my mum was a counsellor, right? And she said, you're going to go through a lot of change in your life. And maybe you should talk to someone about that. Someone who's not Flu or me or you, or someone who knows you and can almost like bounce ideas off with you. So I started seeing a counsellor about 8 weeks and maybe 9 weeks ago, because I thought I really want to prepare to be a dad. And it's so funny because the last session before he was born, it's a woman. She's a lovely woman called Catherine. And I don't know, I feel like she'd be the ideal friend. She's a great person. But
I'm
getting a bit jealous. Love her. And she, we just spent the hour just being very positive, very like affirmative, not deliberately. I just walked in and was just like, no, I just feel really great. There's something really great going on, and I feel like I can, you know, I'll do good in videos. I'll do good in my own life. I've got all these other things I'm thinking about, like, you know, with my own family.
I've seen a change in that from you. I just think you're better equipped to deal with bad situations than what you ever have been before.
Because we've had so many bad situations.
I mean, unfortunately, we're kind of like ninjas at this point. But your mood is less affected when shit hits the fan.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Whereas before, I felt like...
I can. You and I both have the power that if we're in a bad mood and we'll let it take us, we can change everyone else's mood around us as well. And we're very receptive to that as well, I think. So if you're in a bad mood, I'll probably react in a certain way and vice versa. And because we're quite, you know, in tune with each other, we'll end up affecting each other like that. And I think more and more... we're probably both learning to manage that. Yeah,
it is. That's called becoming a man, isn't it?
But you know what? You realise how at every step I thought, okay, you're a man now. You know, at 25, at every step you're like, you're a man now. You're a man now. You're a man now. And you know, then you become a dad, and you're like, okay, am I a man now? And you're like, maybe you're a step closer, but like maybe you won't be a. You know,
it's funny, but looking back at life. And what we've experienced and everything that's gone before. When you're in your 20s, the likelihood is you're not quite there yet. Even late 20s. Most men in their late 20s, you're not quite there yet. Only in my early 30s, I felt like, yeah, I'm well equipped to deal with more shit now. And I mean, that's partly, like you say, because of life experience as well. Because I've had way more life experience than I would have liked to have had at this age. But I think... We all have these experiences throughout our life where we start thinking, yeah, I've got it sussed here. I've got it
and maybe you do for a minute.
Yeah, but you never do. It's all bullshit. But the minute you think you have, life's about to give you a good kick in the arse just to remind you that you don't know shit.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, like the second that you think you understand, the second it doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the whole point is to be respectful of what could happen, but also be appreciative of what you've learned from the past and say, right, well, I'm here. I'm pretty happy with what I've learned so far, but I know that there's a lot more coming. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more.
Yeah. But I've just really enjoyed the whole pregnancy and giving and, you know, having a child thing. And, you know, how many days am I in now? 3, what was he born? So 23 days in. What do I know? You know?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure there's people with kids who are going to go,
good luck, mate.
Good luck, bitch.
Although the funny thing is, loads of people are like, yeah, the first few nights, absolute hell. You will be hell. That wasn't that bad. It was actually all right. And actually, it's your own experience, and you know what I realized is like I can hear all this advice. We read a whole load of stuff about how to make a baby sleep, and then the midwife herself was just like, yeah, that doesn't really, every baby's different. And I was like, great, okay, so what did I read all that for? And
it's worth learning.
Yeah, you took it all in, and obviously I'm kidding, but
what I liked was one of the responses that you gave me on a message. I was just like, look, if you're feeling a little bit you know I'm here, and you replied, and this goes back to the story about you reading the book. You went, don't worry, mate, I'm Kobe.
Yeah, right.
I was like, I know exactly what you mean.
And there's moments where you have that great feeling, and you know, like you probably have similar people that you look at and go, that is, you know, the way I want to be. It just you also get filled with so much purpose. You get filled with so much
yeah, that's what I'm excited for. As your friend, I'm excited to see how he changes you. Because I know you're gonna be there for him. I already know that. That's not even a thing. I'm wondering what he's gonna do to you, because he is gonna change you 100%.
Do you know what I really don't want to be is, and please check me, anyone on social media, if I begin to post too many photos of a child. By the way, there's only what I have been limited by is there's so many abstract photos of a child you can actually take without doing the face in the end. All right, I've had the foot, the back of the head, and we're done. I don't want to be one of those people who is defined by being a parent, and it's like that becomes, you know, I'm a parent. You know, if I ever start getting like that, please check me.
No, but this is the thing. There's a big difference between being a guy who is a new dad and is over the moon and is happy and everyone is happy for you, than a guy who's trying to make a career off of getting brand deals off their children, which there's them lot out there. This is not that. No one's going to think that's that.
You'd hope so.
Well, especially with True News and the content we make, because it's not exactly at home with the Geordies type of...
Do you know what? That's so funny. I was wondering, like, what's the first thing that he's going to watch in years to come of mine and go, fucking hell, Dad. Like, wow, what are you doing there? Like,
do you know what it is? That's really weird that you're now thinking like that. Like, one day he could be
observing.
Yeah. I wonder, he could be impressed. He could be cringing. He could be like, oh, Dad, why did you say that? But I think, if anything, you got to just live your life exactly to who you are and encourage him to do the same thing and embrace that.
Yeah. And, you know, I think a lot of people get, there's a lot of things I want to be as a dad. And you kind of want to also take your kid on great experiences with you. And that is, that's like a high. My problem is, and you know this from making, right, here you go. This is good. Imagine, you know, when you and I make videos, I want them to be almost perfect. Rovan knows that. Gee, I think I might know that. And I put so much thought into it, and I want it to be absolutely everything. And I want it to be almost, I don't want it to be average. I want it to be, you know, really, really perfect. Now imagine, put that into a child. I've had to go through thinking about that and thinking, how can I not fuck this up, but also balance it so that, you know, you don't suffocate it.
But the fact that you're already thinking about that on day 3, you're going to be okay, bro.
I think so. I'd hope so. I'm making good food as well. Suddenly I've just started making great food.
Yeah.
I feel like I could cook for you. I should cook. I make great steak now.
Well, we could let you do a little cooking at
what?
home. Yeah,
cooking,
we'll do a cooking show.
Because you found the pigeons in the...
We can't.
Oh, right, okay. Why can't you talk about that?
It's such a weird situation. So basically, there's it's all weird.
You can talk about a ventilator. It's not.
There's a what's it called? There's a vent going outside, and some pigeons fucking crawled up it and had 2 baby pigeons, ironically, and it was underneath the extractor fan. So I was smelling for a week. I had to complain about it, but they got rid of them.
It stank for like a week.
And the pigeons survived, so good for them, really.
Exactly, you know.
No animals were harmed in the making of the story, but...
And the funny thing is, they first walked in and went, yeah, it's probably from all the stuff you've been cooking. I was like, what do you think Brian's been cooking? Like,
it's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Just... honestly, mate.
But you found them in the end, and Brian sent me a photo of these 2 pigeons that he then sautéed and served out with potato dauphinoise. So.
Can we just stop 1 second? I've got you a present.
Oh.
For the boy.
Lovely. Is it a suit of armour? What is it?
Sorry, I'll get around you. The theme was...
Yeah.
Get you a son who can do both. All right, so we got one and then the other, all right? Maybe. I mean, you can tell that's.
You can tell what this is, but let's let Brian sit down, and then you can explain the thinking.
Okay. So I thought.
Wait.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for that. What? Rovin's trying to capture all this.
So the theme was, he's gonna wanna get himself out there, maybe play a little football.
Right.
He's also gonna want to go out on a night out afterwards. So
that is freaking beautiful, isn't it?
That kit, to my knowledge,
it's the last kit we won the league in,
and it's the year I think you might have been born in.
So is that 88? Yeah, that is the last year we won there.
So it's.
What a thoughtful present.
Yeah, so he can now have the kit that you would have had when you were born.
And you bought him the kit that
the current one as well. So I've got him covered.
That is lovely. This is very thoughtful.
I can tell you Newcastle is coming.
Do you know the funny thing is, I wore the XO kit, and on the day that I wore the XO kit, the midwife went, "Oh, that'll be a great shirt for that." And I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Kids love black and white."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, then there you go. So yeah, I got
that really is lovely.
Loads of Liverpool stuff there.
I mean, we'll go through each item.
Just
in case he shits it.
Basically, yeah.
Great. And for when he gets bigger,
it's going to happen, isn't it?
It's lovely. To be honest, he's going to grow into these.
So I got one newborn and 1 0 to 3. Because I thought he is going to grow, and he might be too lanky for the other one. If I
appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Is this for me or for him?
For him. Yeah.
Babe, newborns, if you don't know, need hats early on.
Yeah,
Didn't know that.
Even
Didn't
in
know
summer.
That is lovely, isn't it? Born to play football.
There you go.
Am I supposed to go through all? Yeah.
No, you just do what you want. Really, we're going off script here.
This is
I think that's like an all-over sort of thing.
That's lovely for after a shower or something.
Yeah. Is that a towel? Oh, that might be the towel.
It's towel down.
Towel,
yeah, for when he goes in the shower.
Yeah.
For when he goes in the shower. Yeah, he loves a good shower. We're not allowed to clean him yet. Turns out that's a rule.
Bibs.
That's lovely.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what you've actually done is I think you've gone online and just clicked everything.
I must admit, you got me.
Yeah.
You got me, yeah. That's exactly
very
what I did.
thoughtful, though. It's very... And then what is this?
So this is for his going out stuff.
Does this say Gucci on the box?
We went Gucci. So we got...
Just to be clear, this isn't coming out of the invoice that I...
this is certainly not.
Okay,
no. Get in on the box, show Rovin. Get in on that.
Get in on the...
Oh, yes.
Did you see that?
Baby Gucci.
It's spelt right as well, so you know it's from Gucci.
I'm telling you now, this is fucking genuine.
Really? Okay. Ooh, Brian.
I know, man.
He's going to look like a little military baby.
No, he's going to look like a...
That's very sweet.
Boss.
You know, the funny thing is, this is actually the colours of his other nationality, which the NHS listed him as mixed other.
Yeah, there you go.
He's Kosovan, and these are some of the colours. So that is lovely. This is very thoughtful. I'm not going to put it there because this is probably worth thousands of pounds. Thousands.
Show the rest.
Show the other rest of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh wow! This is lovely. Yeah. Oh, Brian!
Look at that.
That is actually lovely.
That is balling, isn't it?
He's going to look so sick in this.
I know, man.
Do you know the funny thing is?
Them girl babies are going to be looking at him like he is fly.
Yeah,
He is fly.
That was one thing you do notice when a baby comes out is you're like, look at the balls on that thing. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to find a way to cover them up. That's ideal.
There you go.
That's actually lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is genuinely lovely.
I know it is, isn't it? Yeah.
By
the way, I've got more stuff coming, but this was what...
How?
I just went on a thingy site and was just like...
Clicking and clicking. Thank you so much. No, this is great.
Yeah.
And then there's this. I don't know what this...
That's Gucci as well, so yeah.
It's very fancy, Brian.
I know, mate. Luckily, they packaged it up for me. I didn't package that, I've got to admit.
It is lovely, though. Oh, is this like... You know what this is like? This is like our haul. You know when you go on YouTube and you should label this...
Yeah. We'll clip this up to you too.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. These are shoes.
Yeah, Gucci shoes as well. Got to have the shoes.
Oh, I've got a funny story about that. Yeah. Brian.
Look at that, man! Show that. Balling out here.
That is so sweet, though.
McKenna Jr. Styling and profiling.
Bro, that's so... These are such thoughtful, lovely presents.
I know, I love them.
These are hilarious. And he's a European baby, so he's definitely going to suit these.
Mate,
shoes
honestly.
that I could never wear are going to suit him.
That was part of it. You have to understand, there was a little bit of selfishness here because I wear a double XL men's.
Yeah.
I'm like, finally, I can dress how I would want to dress, just in baby size. This is great. So yeah,
these are lovely.
We got it sorted. Just hide the box on the...
Yeah,
we'll pop them back in the...
Pop them back in the box. And then, you know... The box is nice, by the way.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought this looks legit.
Thank you very much. You've genuinely spent too much money.
Do us a favour. Don't don't get the tube back with that, because you will be robbed.
Well, no, because people don't know it's Gucci inside. They just think it's some cheap tat that I bought on the internet.
So that's that.
So that's the baby.
Good old final. Covered him.
Yeah. If you didn't, the thing is, we only announced it like a week ago.
Yeah, it's a bit weird for everyone else because it feels like it's happened sort of
very quick.
Suddenly,
yeah.
As if you just and then
well, it's kind of like that.
Quick.
Yeah.
So now, if you do fancy Lawrence, you can officially call him a DILF.
Yeah.
Happy days.
I've never heard that phrase so much. Yeah. Thanks to all the people who have. Thanks to all the people on the day that I announced it who were in their teens who sent me videos of them crying.
Oh, really?
Just saying, one girl sent a video of her crying, and it was so sweet. But it was also, she was just crying. I'm just so happy for you. And I was like, I don't know you.
That would terrify me.
I loved it. I thought it was very nice.
I mean, anyone messaging me these days is quite scary.
Yeah. Where are you going to put these? And then there were boys who were like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Don't matter. What are you telling me for? I don't care. And if I'm honest, I don't care about most other people's kids.
Yeah, you don't hate them for that. Yeah, I get it.
I don't hate them, but I'm also like...
You followed me, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to know what I'm doing? What my life's about?
Yeah, you asked, not me.
All right.
I didn't. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Has anyone called you daddy yet?
How do you think we got the child?
Do you know what it is though? Because there's a girl podcast in America called Call Her Daddy.
Right.
I think I might call this episode Call Him Daddy.
Yeah, that's good. I call myself Dad, and we call my mum Nana, because that's the
okay.
You inherit those names. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, from the
previous generation.
Uh-huh.
And
what about your
dad? My dad's granddad.
Is he?
Yeah, he loves that.
Oh.
And then we call Flu's parents. Do
you have the Kosovan words for those? Do you?
Yeah, which is there's Jush and Baba Jush, and those are the two.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And then I can't remember what the great grandma is called.
I mean, that's yeah.
But I mean, I'll be the judge of whether it's great or not. Yeah, exactly.
Great Baba Jush.
Yeah, exactly.
Instant.
Yeah, it's easy.
What are you worried about?
Brian turns out can speak Albanian, so amazing, really. Yeah. Easy. And I've do you know Kristen Hennig, the journalist, our friend? He sent me.
I just wanted to play like I didn't know him, just see how long he was with.
He sent me a book which is English and Albanian.
That's so Kristen.
That is so Kristen, isn't it? That's such.
I'm a journalist. I'm going to send you a book.
Something
Meanwhile, Gucci.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who got the better present?
Every present I get from now on, I'm going to have to send you one and go. Yeah, they're not Gucci shoes though, are they?
I'm just going to be like, I'm going to be policing. If anyone tries to step the mark, I will spend more.
Yeah. Well, this is ideal because my dad just bought me a $3,000
Rolex.
Yeah. Can you just give me this in credit and I'll just go spend this somewhere? That would be great. What would you? I mean, I guess when you start thinking about your life and you start thinking back, you start going, how much can I really have laid out? I wouldn't have thought I'd have been here. Like you and I could never have, planned this. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? I started to think, what's my kid going to look like when he's 30? What's he going to look like when he's 40? Honestly, I started to think about myself dying one day.
Really?
Yeah.
You're such a negative twat.
No, well, death isn't always negative.
It's all right, though, because I am as well.
Yeah,
fine.
We're negative in different ways, and that's why
I've been thinking about health lately a little bit.
Because of COVID, or just because you've seen...
Well, actually, COVID is one of the things, because although people sort of disputed my claim when I first said I'd had COVID, I think because at that time it was so early. I had COVID before it was announced that COVID was really even a thing in the UK, and then we tracked it back and people were like... I was like, I've got all this and everything that they're saying. And I realised that if I wasn't such a unfit, fat bastard...
when you say unfit...
Cardiovascular-wise.
Right, okay.
I'm very unfit I mean, that's just a fact of life. I'm strong as a fucking bull, no doubt, but ask me to jog down the street and it's not really my favourite thing to do. Yeah. I'm fitter than most...
You can move, though.
Look, I'm fitter than people would think, but I'm not fit as what I want to be. And the point is, I'm 22 stone, and I think that the reason I struggled so much when I had COVID was because of my weight, because most of my life I've never ever gotten ill that often, maybe like once or twice, once a year, maybe once every 2 years. That is a very rare, when I saw you ill, because I came to see you,
very rare that people even get to that sort of ill once every 5 years. Almost.
Yeah, that was one of the most ill I've been in my life. Like top 5 easily.
That was Brian's going to list it as the top 5 illnesses.
5 times. Do
you remember the first time you threw up, by the way?
What, in my life? No.
I do. It's horrible. Yeah. I remember just the terrible, and ever since it's sort of really, haunted me.
I nearly died when I was 3 years old, and I had an illness where I would consistently throw up, and it was something to do with my white blood cells, my red blood cells, and issues. And they thought I could die. So I've been really ill before in my life, and I remember that quite vividly, even though I was so young.
I've been ill.
Yeah. But this was like up there, know, like I was thinking, I know how people can die from this because, let's just say for 2 weeks I was coughing constantly and just the headaches, the sweats, everything that went with it. But I coughed so much, so regularly that for about a week to 10 days after COVID had even gone, had such crippling pain in my rib cage and in my stomach from all of the straining that I'd been doing. So I just thought, right, you need to sort yourself out here. You need to actually start caring about yourself, because in your 20s, you get this mentality of you can just booze as much as you want, I'll lift some weights and I'll be fine. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, probably not. And also, weirdly, I'm enjoying exercise as well. Like, I'm actually getting into it more. So I'm just like, mental health wise, I've been feeling so fucking shit about myself and life in general. And I realize that when I do work out, I do feel a bit better. Not on a like, it's going to fix everything tip, but I do feel a bit better. Just even 10%, I get something from it. It doesn't pay the fucking bills and all of that, and it doesn't cure every problem.
Although it might do soon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if you get really fit, we could probably get you sponsored. Well, do you know what I mean?
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Not everything's for sponsors. Deal with me. All right, almost everything. But
you haven't seen my child. He is going to be covered in Gucci.
There you go, Gucci. Just send him some shit.
Yeah, this could be the first.
Genuinely.
Genuinely. I mean, I atted Liverpool FC earlier, but they just haven't tweeted back. They follow me as well. And I atted Obama. Didn't even want to sponsor the child.
So I'm just trying to make changes in my diet's a real problem right now.
In what way?
Because I've tried keto, and that was
it pleasurable?
It was horrible, but it wasn't horrible straight away. I didn't mind it for like a week, but after a week I'm feeling like really sluggish and slow, and like part of training, especially when you are up in your training, is needing refueled. So that was difficult. So I sort of upped the carbs a little bit. But I'm working on the diet. I'm just more worried about getting my training 100%, and then I'll sort the diet out afterwards.
Because I remember you called me about a week into it, and you were saying how great you were feeling.
Yeah.
And I was really happy for you.
Once I upped the training, I crashed.
Plummeted.
Yeah. It's as soon as you start training harder and more often, it's really hard to do that when you're not having carbs.
I get that.
So I'm going to work on it, but I know this might be boring for people, but
no, because there's people out there that will be listening who will be thinking, I think what I'm sick of seeing is people who are only really super fit or do a workout every day. I think most people can't afford to do a workout every day.
Now. I'm struggling. Great. So last week I did boxing like 2 or 3 times, weightlifting 3 or 4 times. Can't remember, depending on what day you started on. But I felt I had a consistent headache afterwards. I probably was dehydrated. I felt like shit. Like when you first start training hard after letting yourself go, you hit a fucking wall really quick, and it's that brick wall of like, we either keep going and we get through this and it gets easier, or it's too hard and I give up. And I'm just trying to get through this bit right now.
The rocky bit, keep moving forward.
It's when you haven't deadlifted in a long time and you're fucking ripping a heavy weight off the floor and like keep going up now, and this heat as well is not helping. I'm really struggling, but I
like the heat to train in because I love sweating when you train.
See, I'm 22 stone. I'll sweat in December.
Sure.
So
that's actually what you should. You should put that on a t-shirt.
I mean, we've got t-shirts.
I'll sweat in December.
They're coming out soon.
Look, it is nice.
I'm strong, but I'm just needing to get fitter. So today I've made a purchase this morning. I bought a treadmill.
Bike. Oh, a treadmill. Good.
Bought a treadmill for the studio. I'm going to use it in here.
Those poor neighbours. They're going to think someone's constantly bashing the floor.
It's Jumanji and a rhino just entered upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, imagine they're playing Cluedo downstairs.
No, but I just thought if I've got it right there, I'm gonna fucking use it. It's when you've got to go somewhere or do something, and I just thought it's expensive, but it's something where I'm actually going to potentially fucking change my life.
Did you have some life insurance policy pay off quickly or something? Because there's Gucci in a box, there's a treadmill.
Well, so there's one thing. So your son's very important.
Brilliant.
And
the fact that you can be alive to see him is also very important.
So there you go.
Right, okay.
There you go. Yeah. And I know I'm in my early 30s right now. If I don't do this now, I'm probably never going to sort my shit out.
We're all in our early 30s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all said that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the longer you leave it, the worse it is. So, and mentally, I've been so shit for the last year. I need to start doing something to make it better. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to try. We're going to. I might record some of it and put it out on TG2.
Do you know?
It's going to be awkward when I'm.
No.
Like.
Do you know what?
Struggling.
Do you know what? I remember a few years ago you did that gym video, the one where we can all see your nipples, and
you can go and check that. It was like 4 or 5 years old.
It's a great video, right?
Yeah, it's called Gym Thoughts with True Geordie.
Yeah, and it was a really good video, which you did all yourself.
That was when I just met you. Well, not sorry. I'd known you for a while, but I was learning from you how to edit.
But you were doing great.
I edited it myself.
Yeah, and you edited it yourself. I think you had someone just come and hold the camera, but you sort of directed that yourself. And I remember thinking how good it was, but I remember you saying, in a few years' time, I want to do that, but it's going to look and sound and be better.
Yeah, I just didn't have the
resources.
Yeah.
Do you know what I was thinking the other day is like, I was trying to work out what you could say on a podcast to young guys about having a baby and about just, we're getting a bit old now. We're sort of past it a little. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't feel past it, but I know what you mean. I definitely don't feel.
No, you're peak.
I feel like I'm in my peak, but I'm on the back end of it. So I feel like I'm not as naive or as ignorant or as arrogant as I used to be, because life has kicked me when I needed it.
Do you know what's amazing is and I think we often talk about this aspect because it's a fun aspect and we appeal to, a certain kind of person. We talk about that fun dating aspect, you can be with different girls or, you can have a fun relationship. We've spoken about commitment, but there's a point that some people go on Instagram. Every time I go on Instagram suggests to me the most basic bitch shit I've ever seen of, Lele Pons and stuff like that.
Yeah, who's that other one who Jack put in a thumbnail from?
I can't remember what her name
celebrity,
is,
that blonde girl.
Right, yeah. Okay.
She's gone out with Tommy Fury.
Those kind of people, right?
No offense, they're probably lovely, but you're not going to learn anything.
Yeah, but the ideas they put out there are so basic of what a man is meant to be in a relationship. And I don't know, that's why I read the Kobe book that night, and that's why when you and I are talking about the men that we look up to, that's the kind of man I want to be. I don't want to be. I don't know. I just get this feeling sometimes that there are, and this is why this has always been a problem in the modern generation, since Fight Club came out or any of these kind of things, that men don't really quite know where we fit in right now. And I've really not known where I've fitted in for quite a while. I keep telling you this. I want to keep making more videos on my own. I want to make more stuff. Do you know what I mean? But I felt a bit aimless, and that's why I say I feel like you've carried me for quite a while, emotionally, all these kind of things. And that's good. You want friends who are going to help you through times like that. But if I can say that to any young guy, it gets so much better when you can get to a deeper level of a relationship with someone and you can really understand that sense of purpose in a relationship. And even though you might not feel it now and you might be like, shut up, old man, or whatever, it will come one day and you're going to be so fucking satisfied by it and you're going to really enjoy that, and it's so enjoyable.
What do you mean by that, just so I fully understand where you're going?
A lot of people, if you go on Instagram or you go on a lot of mainstream media portrayals, the men are all quite simple. So they're either chasing tail or they are trying to fuck, or they're trying to trick their girlfriend into thinking that they're not looking at the arse of another woman or something. That's what Instagram is right now. Is it's loads of oh, she's sexy, and you should be jealous if your man thinks of a woman in a certain way.
I think a lot of these guys, I've been around these guys loads of times, and they're all bluffing it. They're all putting on a show where, look, why else would you fucking diet like that? Why else would you try so hard to make yourself look a certain way? Because you really care what people think. And I get that. It's a buzz to have people looking at you feeling great and make you look great. But, there's a balance to be had of what you look like and also who you are inside. And you got to be working on both. And I feel like a lot of people get caught in the trap. And here's what I'm struggling with right now is balance in life. Is like there's self-improvement of your actual who you are inside. There's financial, where you're sort of trying to manage a business or potentially, have goals in life where you want to be later on and work towards them. And then there's the physical as well. And over the last 12 months, like that balance for me went completely tits up. Like, especially last summer, I was drinking heavy. I didn't care about myself. And if anything, like even caring about myself now, I'm struggling with. Like, it's to like give yourself a shake and go, you need to start doing something. Yeah. And even though I'm sitting here telling you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I know I'm still, like, people can be like, oh, Brian's really got a shit. No, I'm still going to have those moments where I'm sitting there going, there's no point. What is the point? Like this person in my life isn't like this, that person in my life isn't like that. And the frustration comes out of, I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately my biggest challenge right now. For me personally, what I'm feeling is like, I'm not who I want to be. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not satisfied. I am not happy in life. And that is like the honest truth of, but that's why when you showed me you and your little boy, it was happiness. And it was something that I haven't had in terms of like, I've had happiness along the last 12 months, but it was a real unavoidable boom. Like he had some fucking happiness, you know what I mean? Like, can't deny that. That's great. And I've definitely got people in my life who I'm very fortunate to have, and this isn't discounting them, but like internally, I can't force myself to be happy. It's something that's just got to come through time and
experience.
And I'm not a patient person, Lawrence, as you know. So
no way.
What I find is when I'm not reaching those goals, whether it be getting the right sponsorship for the content, getting the right content, managing what we're doing as a business, or my diet, or my physical appearance, or my other interests outside of that, and having personal time, I don't know. I'm just not doing what I want to do, and I'm not where I want to be right now, and it's just fucking us off. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I understand. I think you and I have that similar feeling of like getting that balance, and also getting pleasure out of what you're doing as well, and like true pleasure out of it, and not just
doing it for money.
Correct. Yeah, because I think that most people could be not most, but some people from the outside might have thought of the Tale of True Geordie, or did we call it the Tale of True Geordie, or what was that?
The Fall.
Yeah. Right. They could have thought that was the title may have misled them to think that you were at a high, and that all of those things were also making you feel great. But personally, I know that there was also some moments there where you also didn't feel fulfilled by having 2 great sports cars, or having the money to spend, or any of this stuff.
No, I've got really easy with not having them.
Yeah, because actually you've been through that now. It's not that you don't want a nice car. Everyone wants a nice car. Don't get me wrong, but I think what I really see in you now is you've moved on from that being the goal, and you're not chasing that element of it anymore.
Yeah.
Not that you were facile, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I was a working class kid whose eyes lit up when he's seen a fast car. I'm human, but at the same time, yeah, I learned from those mistakes, and I truly, truly have learned from them. I just haven't recovered from them. So
you gotta take some time for that.
Yeah, so it's like, that was a year ago now when I had to learn all that shit and go through all of it. And it was when you're in survival mode, so it's like when someone dies, the funeral actually is sometimes easy, sometimes because you've got something to plan for and you're so busy, you're not actually reflecting about the death itself. You're going, I've got to make sure everyone's here, I've got to do this, I've got to stay organized. I'm staying busy, and I'm not actually digesting what's gone on. So now, just to explain that comparison, if someone doesn't understand what I mean, it's like, at that moment when I made Fall of True Geordie, it was 6 months after I'd lost my sponsorship and I'd had all that shit.
You'd sold your dream car.
Yeah, my life had gone to absolute hell. In that 6 months after I'd made Fall of True Geordie, I just made that Fall video because I felt like I had to acknowledge how bad it was.
It marked a point.
For me to just go, I just need to tell people, like, because I actually thought if I fucking kill myself, no one's ever going to know what the fuck was going through my head. So I just made. I
would have made so much money from a book, though.
I've been offered money.
Yeah.
But I just literally was feeling so fucking like down and depressed and stuff. I need to put something out there to just vent. And this is supposed to be about you and your news, so I don't want to bring this on a down.
This is about us. I think it's interesting.
Now we're a year on. It's like after the funeral, I'm able to process what has gone on, and I'm sad. You know what I mean? It's just a very sad. It's sad to realize how I feel inside right now, and
it's difficult.
Yeah, and I have good days and bad days. It's not like I'm feeling like it's the end of the world, but there's just some days it does. Do you know what I mean? So it's like anyone who has depression. The thoughts come, and you just sort of think, "Fucking hell," and then they go, and you just try and keep busy, and you just try. And the one thing I've got in my life is I've got some people around me who really care about me, and I've got a job that I do love. And even though I get frustrated with the job and I want it to be better, I'm very lucky to have this job. And I don't want anyone thinking, you're in a nice flat in London and you've got a good job, you're not grateful. I'm very grateful, but I've also worked extremely hard to get to this situation, and I'm not where I want to be still. I want to keep trying and keep chasing dreams and keep trying to make it better. But that isn't the source of, the depression. The depression, I guess this year I've just come to a reality check of, as you do when you sort of feel like you're a man now, and, you start reflecting on life and you go, fuck me, I've been left with some scars. And I'm not just talking about the last year, I'm talking about the last 10 years. Like before YouTube, I'm reflecting on things that happened to me when I was younger, all sorts, and you just start realizing, like, all right, I'm here. That was really hard. It's left me with some real scars, and I guess I'm just pushing people away from me now, because I just feel like I don't know. I guess you just do that when you're feeling down. You don't want to be.
Sometimes you need a bit of alone time,
or
you need to have your own space. And also maybe you've drawn some people towards you, I'm not saying this is me, but like some people towards you that you don't want there anymore. Do you understand what I mean? Or that not that you don't need, but that it's not the right time for them to be around. And maybe that's later, maybe it's...
I think they say it's lonely at the top. I'm not sitting here saying I'm at the top in terms of like, I'm not fucking Jay-Z, but I'm very happy with, my career and what I've done. And, but there's also just a lack of trust in I've been used by so many people, and I'm not going to name names of people who have just taken the piss in the past, but I've been used a lot, and it just makes you question what the fuck people are around you for, do you know what I mean? So I'm now just like very wary of who I interact with.
Which can be quite inhibiting, because you sometimes you might end up not having an opportunity.
I'm turning into one of those people who's like, doesn't want to be around other people, and that is never who I was. I was always the life and soul of the party, and now I'm much more like, just leave me alone. You know what I mean?
Feelings like that come and go as well, though, don't they? Like that can feel like, especially with that feeling, that can feel really permanent in that moment. And
it fucking does, but it isn't. It's your mind convincing you this is it. Fuck it.
Exactly. And you, in many ways, it makes you grit your teeth and it makes you work really hard in that time, and then you come out the other side of it. But I get what you're saying. That can feel incredibly lonely.
But also, I'm not the type of person, as you know, to pour all my problems onto one other person and be like, like, I'm talking very figuratively here. I'm not being very specific, but I don't like to sit down with one person and just go, so he has everything that's wrong with me, and like, so it's not my style either. So I don't know. I like you say, I understand how depression works. It gets really bad. It gets a bit better. Sometimes sometimes you can not have it for ages and feel like you've got it all under control and it's gone, and then it can come right back again when you least expect it. So it's easy saying that. It's like, just living with it can be challenging. Do you know what I mean?
It also seems like you've come to a lot of realizations in your life that maybe you are more emotionally equipped to deal with the stuff you've been through in your 20s than you were at that time. And the siren can go. Maybe some of that stuff you hadn't fully processed, and now you're old
That's
enough
it.
as a man.
That's it.
It's kind of coming back, and you are processing it.
Yeah.
And
It's all coming back now.
But that's not a bad thing. But it is a hard path to walk.
Yeah.
And I think everyone sort of thinks, "Oh, I've been through that, done." And you and I both know it's not the way it works.
I did though. I spent so much of my life trying to survive the shit that I'd went through, like what happened in the last 12 months, that I got to a point where once I'd gone through it all and I went, oh, fucking hell, I have survived. I've stopped drinking now. I'm all right. Maybe I'm just going to be fine now. And that's when I started reflecting on it and realising, like, God, the world's a shit place, like, and people have been shit to me. And now I just don't like people anymore. Like, I don't trust people anymore like that. You know what I mean? Like, that you know, you understand why people say no new friends at that point, because it gets to like that. You know what I'm saying? So we're the only friends stuck now. With me now. Yeah, but luckily you've just had a new one, so I can adopt him into the circle of trust. You know, the funny thing is, I was actually thinking about that. I was talking to my dad on the phone about it, because he's got a lot of friends, sort of, you know, he's got a lot of friends that I love seeing, because they're such great, like, cool guys. And there was a story, I'll tell you this story from when I was a kid, right? My dad and his friend went golfing. One of my dad's friends is a very rich man, and he's owned a lot of businesses. In fact, quite a few of my dad's friends are very rich men. Not got the Gucci shoes though, have they? No, although actually I think one of them does wear Gucci shoes. And I was thinking, like, you know, what's my son going to have around him? And there was always this one friend. There was a couple of friends that I got really excited with. There's this one friend who had like a bit of a glint in his eye and is clearly quite a character. And I would always get a bit excited when he visit my dad, because I was a bit like, something cool is going to happen today when this friend visits. And this guy had a Porsche. And it was the first sort of nice car that I'd ever been in. And my dad had a Peugeot. And my dad's mate said, let's drive to the golf. I was going to caddy for them, and they were going to, and I was happy to just walk around with my dad and be with him. You know how you are as a son, like, you just love being with your dad. Even if they're not a good dad, you'll still love being with your dad at some point. And he went, but Lawrence comes with me in the Porsche. And I was like, yes, I want to come with you in the Porsche. And sorry, Dad, see you. Sorry, see you later. And I remember we got in the Porsche and he went, what's your favourite song? And I was like, The Boys Are Back in Town. And he put the CD in of that and just turned it right up. And then I think we arrived at the golf about 5 minutes before my dad did, but we had the fastest journey I've ever had in my life. And I was like, yeah, that's what Brian's going to be like for my son. Like, you're just going to be the guy that turns up and is like, what crazy shit should we do today then? Yeah, I'll definitely give him a few words of wisdom when you're... So just so you know, though, he also gave me Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy, so that is a very high level that this guy reached. It's going to mean at least a PS5 is going to have to be gifted to this kid. Yeah, and when I say a PS5, it's sort of a family gift. More than I'm pretty sure he's going to be too young for a PS5. Lawrence. No, I mean, you can't appreciate colour enough, Brian, and what's going on in that world is going to teach him a lot. You saw. Fair play. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, he was loving that Liverpool. So just to be clear, Lawrence sends me a video of the first goal he seen Liverpool score after his son was born. It was Trent Alexander-Arnold, free kick. What a first goal, by the way. A great free kick. It's a great way to start. Yeah. And he just pans over to his son and he goes, the crowd goes wild, and literally he's knocking Zeds out. Just like, he's just sleeping, and then Lawrence raises his hands and yay. I was like, so this is Lawrence as a dad, eh? Plenty more like that where that comes from. Isn't it crazy though? He arrives the final, literally the last time Liverpool won the title, that was my year. And the year that he arrives, a few people have messaged me and gone, is there any chance that you could crack a few more babies out during the Jurgen Klopp era? Yeah. It's a possibility. So going for the treble. Going for the treble, yeah. If I have two more kids, we'll win a Champions League and the FA Cup in the same year. No, that's special, mate. And I remember throughout the season, I was saying to you, your son's going to be born in a championship winning season. And isn't that amazing? I kept saying it to you, and I'm like, well, maybe. I was like, it's happening. Yeah. I can feel it. It is real. Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? And it's a memory you'll never forget, mate. Yeah. It's been a good chat today. Thanks to everyone who's been with us on this journey as well. Yeah, good luck if you made it to this point, you weirdos. There's the OGs. I think they're still here with us. They're still here through the bomb shelter, through ups and downs, through it all. And yeah, it's a really emotional one for me, this one.
I think for both of us.
Big time.
It's a strange day to even see each other today, isn't it? It feels a bit different.
Yeah, I can't fucking believe it. I can't believe it. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed it. If you have, obviously hit the like button. We'll be back doing the kickoff all of July. We got a live stream. I'm gaming now on TG2. If you just didn't know that, I'm doing some gaming live streams.
You downloaded those games?
Yeah, I've got loads of games.
I'd like you to take me through a couple of those. I think I can join you for some more live streams. Yeah. I know people want to see you on your own, but I enjoyed it last week.
I need all the help I can get, mate, as you've seen. Yeah. So on TG2, we're doing gaming live streams, doing more clips, and hopefully you subscribe to the Kickoff and TG2. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for this channel. I love you.
Love you too.
And thanks for watching. We'll see you later.